this is the interview that everybody has been waiting for. We have been pumping this one up, pushing this one out there, and we are live. We are live. Who are we with? Let everybody know? Hinder, right? We knew, but I want everybody else to know. Because we've got kids back there whose hands are probably shaking and the camera's probably all over this thing. Nervous as can be. So Hinder's been the big one. And they were briefed very quickly on the End Hunger Challenge project and what you are a part of. And believe it or not, many people have been waiting for this. But you kind of were briefed really quick on what the project is.
To you guys.
Right? And you know, and believe it or not, I didn't tell you this. Not that it matters, but to toot my own horn a little bit, this project was actually my baby. So about a year ago, I started with No Kid Hungry, and I wanted to kind of do more than what I did with feeding the neighborhood kids that I do in my hometown here in Minnesota. Started with them, and I'm like, oh, I need to do more. And I used to interview other musicians, but not on this level. And I just kind of said, you know what? I'm going to take my love of interviewing artists with ending child hunger, and the End Hunger Challenge became what it is, and now we're sitting here with Hinder.
Bravo.
Right?
Yeah.
And so another 1,000 meals, second interview today, and that's 2,000 meals today, and a huge effort for you guys.
Very cool. So cool.
So
Thank you for
knowing what you know about the project, enough of me talking, what do you think? What do you think of that, what you're part of, you know, what do you think?
Well, obviously, it's amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like a great cause, and we're happy that we could help in any way.
Yeah, and thank you for doing it. That's a very noble thing. That's very cool.
I mean, you deserve the applause here.
Okay.
Well, and you guys obviously for even agreeing to do it and being a part of it, because you usually have said, "Ah, we're too busy. We don't have time." So, you know, kudos to you for saying we're going to do it. When you think of child hunger, you know, and of course, my idea, I would love to end child hunger everywhere. I would love to see a day that it doesn't exist anywhere. But realistically, I can't. I need to start in our own backyard first. I mean, I'd love for it to not exist anywhere, but I need to start in the U.S. first, you know, and that's kind of where No Kid Hungry is at. So knowing that, when you think of child hunger here on our home front in the U.S., what do you think when the word, you know, a hungry child comes to mind? What do you picture?
The first thing that comes to my mind is that how unfortunate it is, considering, you know, what a rich nation we are. I mean, there's really just no excuse for it. And so, I don't know, we need more efforts like you're making right now to make this a non-issue in the future.
What is one thing, and I leave politics out of it, and I just do because it's such a touchy subject, but like you said, there really should be no reason that we have it. So knowing that there shouldn't be a reason for hunger here, what's one thing that you could think of that we could do to, you know, put more forth of effort, maybe farmers or less waste? I mean, what is something that you guys think we could do to continue this goal?
I actually just saw a documentary on, or a story on how much food we waste every year based upon, you know, freshness labels and stuff that are kind of just set by manufacturers, not by the FDA. And so, you know, these supermarkets want to keep their you know, their produce stocked and amazing looking all this time, so they waste all this perfectly good food just because it may have a blemish or it may have an arbitrary date on the sack that says it's no good past, which is not the case. And that's a huge thing. If we could get legislation to change that and save all this food and use it to get to hungry people, that would be a great first step.
Or what about more help to the local farmers? I mean, farmers, if they were given more help, could produce so much more food that could be used. I mean, like at our house right now, we're growing fresh fruits and vegetables at our home, that if we have more beans than what we can use for the kids, I'm going to take the extra and give to the local kids in the community who probably might not have access to, as weird as it sounds, the fresh produce that maybe the parents can't afford to get them. So we're going to give them to local kids who might not have them. And as strange as it sounds, there's a lot of kids who don't have access to anything beyond fast food or, you know, junk. So we're going to try to take what we have and give it to those that don't. So, you know, farmers being able to take and give, you know, their access.
You know, the more food we grow, the better, you know, it is for the environment too, as opposed to eating, you know, meat, farming cattle and all that kind of stuff. So.
And then think of the ones who, you know, at the end of the night, people who are digging for food out of garbages from restaurants, like in the back, because the restaurants have to throw out their waste. Think of how much is wasted at restaurants. because, like you said, the rules and the regulations they have to follow, they're having to throw out that goes bad at the end of the night, that there's nothing wrong with it, but they can't give it to a local food shelf or, you know, a soup kitchen, so they throw it in their dumpsters, and people are having to
Yeah,
take.
that's one of the things. You know, a lot of people use the excuse that, you know, they're afraid they're going to be sued if, you know, that some, but that's really like kind of unheard of, that you donate food and you get sued. You know, that's really kind of a poor excuse for having that type of regulation or legislation involved in keeping food from getting into people's hands. It doesn't hold up. So
I interviewed a teacher a few months ago, well, before school got out. It's here, we're from Brainerd, so we're like, what, 45 minutes away?
Yeah, about that.
Maybe about 45 minutes away from here. I interviewed a teacher before school got out, and he works with kind of the special kids or the kids who need more help. And he told me that, you know, come, you know, May before school gets out, how do you tell a third grader that they cannot save that banana in their desk until school gets out? Because they start hoarding food. You know, they figure they get breakfast and lunch in school, but it's part of the reduced, you know, or free school program. So they'll start hoarding their breakfast in their desk. And how do you tell that third grader when their desk starts to smell that they can't save that food until school's up? Because once summer hits, they go into fight or flight mode, and they start, you know, where are they going to get their food from? They've relied on school for 2 meals a day, and now summer hits, and what are they going to do? So it's, you know, that's where No Kid Hungry comes in. So our big thing is raising the money like we're doing to ensure that they don't go hungry over the summer, because, you know, they have school during, you know, 9 months out of the year. And then those 3 months, where are they going to get it from? And try telling the kid, oh, yeah, it's your job to try to figure out how you're going to get food. You know, so that's where we step in, and that's where Hinder has stepped in by agreeing to be part of the project. So now those kids don't have to worry about how they're going to get their food. Thanks to you guys.
Thanks to you.
Right?
thanks to you.
So if you could say anything to the people, and believe it or not, there are still some who say, you know what, I really don't care. It's not my problem. You know, it doesn't affect me. What would you say to those who watch and say, you know what, it's not my problem?
Well, I was just going to say earlier, I think it's really important that we kind of just change our mindset, you know, toward the way we look at people that are struggling and you know, falling on hard times. You know, I think it's really important that people shouldn't be judgmental, you know, because we don't know everybody's story. We don't know what they've gone through. So for people to look down, you know, on somebody who's struggling, I think that's very unfortunate. I think that it's very important that, you know, people like you, I don't know, kind of educate others and just kind of help to change the mindset overall. I mean, I think it's obviously very important.
Gotta change the mindset from the, you know, people that need food, or, you know, or takers, or who's the makers and who's the takers. I think it's really insulting that, I mean, we're all kind of in this boat together. We're all a part of humanity, and we should help each other instead of, you know, standing by.
I said that 2015 was going to be the year that I was going to end hunger. And of course, that might not happen. I've got 6 months to go, and I might not end it. But I'm going to try I'm going to try my hardest. But, you know, again, it's humanity, and I'm tired of people finger pointing without knowing the story, because it isn't necessarily somebody who is abusing the system. You don't know their story. Maybe they worked for 20 years and got laid off. You know, they never needed help before. You don't know. So instead of finger pointing and saying, you know, you should just work, why don't we just lend them a hand and say, you know what, maybe you just need help.
Just make sure everybody has food.
Right? Why do we have to?
It doesn't matter. It's a basic human right and a need. So let's get rid of
homelessness and
let's
hunger.
get rid
Why
of
do
the
we have
conjecture
to?
over it? But
Exactly. I know. So exactly. So no more finger pointing. No more. You know exactly. Listen to them. Right? They know what they're talking about. See?
Just on this, don't listen to us any other time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's
Just
what
on
it says,
this. Just on this. All right. You guys have been awesome. Anything else you want to say to everybody who's watching? Believe it or not, there's a lot of people waiting for this interview.
good luck to you and your purpose. I wish you
Right.
guys nothing but the best.
Right. The best. All right. Anything you want to ask them? You've been waiting for this. Anything you want to say?
They're all froze up.
They all froze up and clammed up. They're just like, ah. All right.
I got nothing to say.
You guys have been great. All right, so this was our interview with Hinder, day 2. All right, another 2,000 meals raised. We're gonna keep going. Oh, here we go. Don't stop. what I normally do for interviews, especially like this one, is we say 3 people that you want to think of to keep the ball rolling. Normally when I do interviews like this, kind of like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. So 3 bands or people that you want to call out to kind of keep it going, that you're saying, hey, you need to be part of this. Can you think of 3 people that you want to call out to say step up and do an interview with me for the project to kind of keep it going?
I know. Well, I mean, do they have to be here?
Not necessarily. I mean, well, you know what? Puddle of Mud hasn't agreed yet. I'm trying to get a hold of them to do it, and they haven't stepped up yet, so that'd be a good one. But it doesn't even have to be here. We can try to get a hold of